So recently I acquired two new puppies. I still have Nina, and I still love my pit bulls, but I went with something a little different this time. I went with a Kalahua leopard dog pit mix. Their ears are cropped. They have different color eyes, and they have a different pattern to them. You will see them eventually in the video, in some of my videos that are coming. But what I recently figured out was the food that I have been feeding them. I tried raw, and raw is just a little bit expensive for me right now to feed all of the dogs that I have. So what I have done is a hybrid method. So I feed a little kibble and a little raw, a sweet potato, some green bean, some type of protein, not pork, but I will do sardines. So they get sardines, they'll get an egg, and green beans. Green beans are another natural filler. But if you notice from the title, dog food is different now. And I'm glad that you clicked on this video. I hope you get something out of it. But what I have found is feeding them raw doesn't always work. Kibble is horribly bad for them. And I have been messing with dogs for around a little over 30 years. No, I'm not a veterinarian. No, I am not a professional dog breeder, but I have shown dogs. I've shown Frenchies, I've shown Staffordshire Bull Terriers, and I've owned pit bulls, Bostons, and trained a lot of dogs for around this time, for a long time. You don't have to take my word for it. You can try whatever you want to try. But basically, they're making our dogs a vegetarian or vegetarian-like. You really have to watch what you put in your dog food. Not what you put in your dog food. What brand of dog food you're getting. And with the prices of dog foods out there, I don't know if you've searched recently, it's very expensive. And the very inexpensive ones are very crappy. When I was growing up, you had Alpo, you had Kibbles and Bits, you had the gravy train. If anyone can remember, you remember the little gravy train that ran through, and your dog loved it, and he looked up, and it was like a little chuck wagon that was going through. That's what I grew up on. If you guys don't know that, there is probably a commercial on YouTube that you can go and view that old commercial. But it was Kibbles and Bits, Gravy Train, you had Alpo, Purina, a few other brands. I don't remember them having the same ingredients that we're seeing now. And that concerns me because I've taken great time in researching what dog foods are good for dogs and how to feed them. And the method that I do is like I said, a hybrid method. What I do is I will get a bag of crap stuff, a small bag, and I will get a big bag of something expensive because the food prices again have gone up. This time, I think I spent $60 on a 35-pound bag, and that's my good food. To give you an example of why I spent $60 instead of $30, the $60 food, which was, I still think it's Purina, it's an Instinct. So I haven't looked at the bag. I think it's like Purina Instinct. It's a burgundy bag. You want to look for the first three, mainly the first three, to 5 ingredients are what is the main sources in that dog food. The main sources in the instinct or whatever it is. I think I got venison and some tuna and something else. But those are the first ingredients. It's not beef powder or tuna powder or anything like that. It is actual meat. And then there's another ingredient that was another meat source. And then it had some type of wheat or corn or whatever. So the instinct, and there's a few other brands that have that. Pure, I, I'm not going to name the names. You need to look on the back because I don't want to get sued for anything for giving out this information that I look at every time I go to dog food. But I noticed that 6 months ago, the dog foods that I was looking at, if you look on the back, the first 3 ingredients in several of these brands is corn. The first ingredient is corn, and then the second ingredient is ground corn, and the third ingredient is like a beef powder or beef bone marrow or something like that. Be really conscious of how you're feeding your dogs. Once I took my dogs off of the bigger name brands, when I read the back, they had just corn and another non really meat ingredient, but it had some type of meat on the front of the package, they're doing much better. I give them a little bit of kibble, so yeah, they still get some kibble, but I switch up bags all the time. That's another thing. Switch up your bags. Being a man that does not know where his income is going to come regularly, I switch mine up because I never know if I'm going to lose my job, and I do have to get a corn bag of dog food. And so, and I may have to change brands. This way I don't have to change brands. I get a big bag of the $60 stuff, and there's several of them out there that the first 3 ingredients are some type of meat. At least the first 2 are some type of meat. I get a bag of that, so I'll spend the $60 on that. Instead of getting the wet food where you're paying $19 or however much you're paying for this wet food that is ground up, what I do is I go out and I have got, dogs can have green beans, they can have sweet potatoes. All of these things are very inexpensive. You don't have to go to necessarily to the pet store. You can get this stuff from Walmart. You can get it from Sam's Club. But I get a big industrial sized can of green beans. I put those green beans in a container. All you have to do is open up the can, pour it in. I get a couple cans of, I forget what they're called. And all this is unedited. So I get a couple cans of sardines. And I get a bag at Walmart of sweet potatoes. These are like $3.49 or something. All you have to do is you don't have to season anything. Just put the sweet potato in the oven, bake it, cut it in quarters. So if you have one dog, cut it up in quarters. It'll last you 4 days. The green beans, I put those in there, and it'll last a couple of about a week or so for the green beans. And this is for 3 dogs. But what you will find is they have more energy. Their coats immediately go back to shiny. Their eyes will go back. Their teeth will look better. Their overall energy level raises as well. And that's what I do. So I just wanted to give this message that most of you may not know because you just pick up a bag of dog food. But the bag of dog food that you may be picking up, look on the back of the label. It probably says corn as the first 2 ingredients, or some type of whey or wheat or something like that. This is day 24. I have 6 more days of this unedited, uncut, unfiltered videos, but I just wanted to get on here to let everyone know, and I thought it was really important because that was one of the things that was on my mind today was how to feed your dog. And you don't have to put a lot in. You can put a little kibble and these vegetables and things, sardines. I get some chicken liver sometimes. I'll get beef. Be conscious of what you're feeding your animals. These are supposed to be your semi loved ones. Everyone really, most people, I should say, love their dogs. Start looking at what you're feeding them. If you're starting to look at what you're feeding yourself, they can eat these things. These have been tested. I wouldn't get on here and tell you otherwise. But with that, I'm glad you made it to the end of the video. I want to thank everyone for tuning in and taking your time today to look over this. Please hit that like button. It helps me tremendously. If you made it to the end, share this with somebody. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe. This is my first 30 days. After this, there will be edits. There'll still be live uncut videos, and there'll be more to come to the channel. I want you to laugh with me. If you choose to laugh at me, that's fine. I don't care. But that's how it's going to, the channel is going to go. Tuesdays is 10 Toes Tuesdays for those of you who are just now getting on and seeing about my channel. And that is the story time of people that have influenced me in my life. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great day. I love you, and we'll see you on the next one. Big Onk out.